My name is Peter Bruninger, viewers, and we have assembled here really a dream team. Now you talk about dream teams in audio, and you couldn't get a better one here. I'm going to first start off with Roman Artowski. Roman, how are you? Very good, thank you. You have started a new organization, a new consortium, the Dream Team, called the Audio Union.
Yes, that's right. Audio Union is an organization of like minds trying to bring products to a new level. And let me introduce the rest of the team. Frank Schroder, Mark Dohmann, and Tom Kleinbeck.
Well, good. Well, let's meet everybody individually. Let's see what products they have. The Dream Team products here from the Audio Union viewers. We really are excited about this, and I want to congratulate everybody for coming together here for this great launch. Thank you, Ruben. Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Peter.
Thank you, Mark.
Pleasure.
Thank you, Frank.
Pleasure.
Okay, let's check out your products. Here we go. Okay, let's kick off with the team leader.
Hi, Peter. Well, Thrax is already familiar to some of your viewers. Let me introduce the products that we are presenting at the moment. This is the Lyra speaker, which was introduced last year, actually this year at Expono, for the first time in the North American market. Our most powerful hybrid power amplifier, the Thrax, and of course our first product, the Dionysus, Orpheus LCR phone stage, and the Maximinus DAC. But the most important thing here is our new product launched under the venture of Audio Union, which is the Dohmann turntable with the Schroder CB tone arm. I would suggest you get the guys to explain you everything about it.
Okay, let's bring Mark in. Viewers, I'd like to introduce you to Mark Dohmann. Mark, you're one of the preeminent designers in high-performance audio. You've been designing turntables since 1982.
That's
Am I
correct.
correct?
Yeah. Yep.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it feels like it. I'm actually here with a new turntable as part of the Audio Union family of products. This is the Dohmann Helix 1. It's a belt-driven turntable, and it features a number of innovations. People have been very interested, for instance, just looking from the outside, that this platter doesn't appear to spin. That's actually an acoustic shield for the side of the platter. We're trying to minimise the amount of acoustic interactions with the product. We can't, of course, shield the top of the surface of the LP. You have to play that. But the turntable also has the facility to handle two tone arms. In this case, we're offering the CB tone arm from Frank Schroder, which is a new design of Frank's, which is harmonising well with the Helix 1 turntable. And this arm here is actually a special arm that Frank's developed for Oswald's Mill Audio, and he's showing it here for the first time in public, and we've been enjoying listening to it here at the show at RMAF.
Okay.
The turntable has 33 and 45, which one would expect. But one of the interesting features is it's a very low frequency suspension system, and what that's designed to do is isolate. For instance, if we were to play a record, which I could put a needle in the groove, lower the arm, I can shake the infrastructure violently and the tone arm does not miss track. The cartridge just continues tracking through. So the turntable is exceptionally well isolated from footfall and, for instance, installations where people have a small attic in an old house and there's old wooden floorboards, and they might be used to tiptoeing around their turntable, and if kids run into the room the needle jumps and so on. So we tried to come up with a design that would completely ameliorate those effects and give people the confidence to have a turntable on normal furniture. They might have a beautiful antique table they want to use. This turntable is pretty much immune to the industrial and other noises that can be generated in a house or other environments. That includes concrete floors, by the way. Interestingly, the technology inside comes from a company in California called -K, and they specialise in presenting isolation bases for electron microscopes and also other scientific equipment. So they're very well respected in that field. What we did is it's not just a turntable sitting on a -K, it's actually the turntable is fully integrated. The -K offers a low frequency isolation, but the higher frequencies are crossed over mechanically into a brand new chassis design. The chassis design technology actually goes back to the work of Ernst Chladni in the 1700s. He's known as the father of acoustics, and Chladni plate analysis has been used by luthiers when they're designing very, very expensive handmade violins, violas, cellos, and piano makers even use the technique. These days we can actually also do that work in software, but it's actually a physical way of checking the vibrational performance of a surface. You can look it up on YouTube. It's spelt Chladni, Chladni, and there are many videos there showing how these techniques are used. We use this in the turntable to provide very, very special mounting areas for the infrastructure like the motor, the bearing and the tone arms. And we believe that's lowered the noise. That principle, we've given it a name of micro-signal architecture. So the idea is that not only electrically but also mechanically, everything's been done to suppress noise and interference from the external environment. So I was able to work with the Kleinbeck brothers from EnKlein as part of the Audio Union team. Tom Kleinbeck got involved with making the electrical signature of the turntable as quiet as we can possibly make it. The mechanical signature, of course, is being helped with the -K and also our chassis engineering. So we believe that we've established a new benchmark in performance for low noise and getting rid of muddiness in the bass. And there's no difficult systems to operate. It's very, very easy to operate and install. So yeah, we're very, very pleased with the result.
Well, it's surely an intriguing design. We were first sold it in Munich, and we're seeing it here today, and I have had my hands touching it and moving it as the needle doesn't move. I'm a big believer in lowering the noise floor in turntables. I have a suspended floor in my listening room. And I know
most of us have houses with wooden floors.
A lot of us do.
You know, so,
a lot of us do.
And yeah, that's what it's designed to do, is just forget about having to rebuild your house. And I've seen people cut holes in floors and put new stumps in, and you know, many thousands and thousands of dollars of modifications to their house, or bolting things to the wall, and you know, they all work, you know, to try and help, but you don't have to worry with the Helix one. It's set and forget.
Well, very good. Thank you, Mark Dohmann, for bringing to market the Helix one, and let's introduce Frank Schroder, who provides a beautiful tone arms. Here we go.
Thank you, Peter.
Okay, thank you very much, Mark.
All right. Some of you might have seen my face at various audio shows. I'm usually in charge or responsible for the part of the playback that involves tone arms, sometimes cartridges, sometimes turntables. Here, I'm very, very happy to find one of my products on Mark's turntable, because I think we're on the same page when it comes to many design principles, among them what was talked about before, the isolation of any external, extraneous energy forces acting upon the system. The cartridge is a motion sensing device, be it of any type you can think of, and it cannot differentiate between being moved from an outside force or the cantilever being moved through tracing the groove. In other words, you want to keep everything and anything away from the cartridge as it traces the groove to make sure that the fidelity is unharmed, unscathed. So in order to achieve this, this arm features a number of somewhat unique design principles incorporated into it. What most people will find kind of unusual is that they're looking at a tone arm that has a low slung counterweight, but it is not what you would usually think. A lot of people ask me, is this a unipivot arm? No. It's a principle that involves captive bearings, ball bearings that are preloaded in a different way to achieve unprecedented low friction and stiction figures. Typically, it is less than 2 milligrams that are required to displace the arm consistently, not just arbitrarily, and the mass distribution on the arm makes sure that no external force can actually cause the cantilever to see any deflection. So in order to have a system where shaking the table or any air pressure variations causing the arm to move is prevented, the design makes sure that everything, all forces concentrated on it, will be focused on the central bearing point, not causing the arm to be deflected in any way, shape, or form. Some of the things you've not seen in any of my arms before, carbon fiber used as a material for the arm wand. I'm normally not a big fan of it for a variety of reasons, but here we've come up, partially with the help of Rumen, with a solution that provides incredible structural integrity. Bending torsional forces required to move this in any way, shape, or form would be, I mean, magnitudes higher than what you could actually pick up with very sophisticated measuring devices. But at the same time, the negative aspects of carbon fiber are not being taken into account, but they're avoided by having a guiding tube inside that has a super low dielectric constant, and also make sure that there are no air column resonances to develop because of the small internal diameter. The arm features interchangeable cartridge mounting plates, so you could change the effective mass of the arm without having to buy a new one or exchange the entire arm wand. There are several interfaces that are part of the design that allow the user to optimize the setup for a particular cartridge. It's not to say that the arm has to be optimized for one particular cartridge, but you could tailor the outcome ever so slightly. It's like putting a different mat on there. If you change the torque on some of the screws as much as changing the torque with which the lower part of the counterweight, you see that it's a two-part.
I do see.
Connected to the upper part, there's an O-ring, a compressible O-ring in there, will change the coupling of mass to the rest of the structure, and therefore the damping. It's an anti-resonator, very simple principle, actually.
And Frank, what about the anti-skating?
Yes, the arm does feature a skating compensation, which is not obvious to the naked eye, but internally there's a magnetic circuit and a screw accessible from right where the arm lift bar is that acts upon it. At its end it carries a magnet, and there are opposing magnets on the other side. So you can adjust the arm to compensate for skating. Obviously, that's one of the features I wouldn't want to be without, particularly with modern cartridges. In addition, speaking about modern cartridges, some of them are rather temperamental in terms of the vertical tracking force. There is a very small window at which they perform best.
Yeah, you need a
So
very
you have
fine tune.
a very fine tuning, finely threaded 0.5 millimeter thread tuning weight, which allows you to change the tracking force by about plus minus 0.15 grams without having to shift
Yeah,
or move
perfect.
the
Perfect.
big one.
Great, well, thank you very much on that. Good,
Absolutely.
good.
One last word. I need to add that. What you see here is a 9.4 inch version. It comes in two lengths. 11.1, 282 millimeters effective length, which is a quote of classic tonearms from the past, like Micro MAX 282 and some Audio-Technica studio arms. So it's not a full 12 length, but 11.1 inches. And I find that to be a very good length to work with some of the larger turntables without having to go as long as some people would like it. There's no gain in making it any longer than 11.1 inches, in my opinion. So, other than that, there's not much to say besides the fact that the wiring harness features, again, sorry for using the word again, an unprecedented low capacitance figure. It's typically a little more than 22 picofarads if you don't connect the ground or shield, and a little more than that. Symmetrical all the way through, no additional contact points. The wiring used is high purity, long crystalline copper cryode, so we're taking great care in keeping all the losses associated with wiring at an absolute minimum. The other arm that you see is my homage to studio tone arms from the 50s and 60s with the use of either mono cartridges or classic early stereo cartridges which are typical, low compliance in mind. Nevertheless, it can be made to be used with medium compliance cartridges as well. The apparently wooden arm wand, if you want to call it that, is not wood anymore. It undergoes a treatment process which retains its cellular structure, but turns it into a piece of carbon that doesn't look like carbon. So the structure is extremely stiff.
How about that?
And is impossible to mimic through man-made methods. It's then impregnated so that not to avoid any negative influence by, let's say, humidity or temperature, but in order to optimize the internal damping. And we have a very low resonant structure, and at the same time the friction of the bearing system is extremely low once again, due to the use of a new, well, I wouldn't call it new principle, but it's a dual pivot, if you want to call it that, that the features of which will be revealed a little bit later, if I may say so.
Well, very good. They are surely impressive looking tone arms. I like the technology, and I like what you just described about the counterweight, where you can actually adjust the tension between the lower and the upper part. There must be an elastometer of some type in between, and then I understand the resonant frequency change of the tone arm. Everything changes everything, viewers. And the look of a classic arm, a vintage arm, but manufactured with today's technology to give you the look of yesteryear. How cool is that? That is so cool. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Frank
My
Schroder.
pleasure.
And viewers, I'd like you to meet Tom Kleinbeck from EnKlein. Tom, how are you?
I'm fine, Peter. How are you today?
I'm doing really good today. I understand that you've partnered up and done a lot of technology advancements in the turntable, along with what you do with your cable technology. Tell us a little bit about your cable technology first, and then what you've done to the turntable, and a little bit about your skin work, okay?
Okay. And first of all, we have EnKlein cables in this system all the way through it.
Okay.
And we've got the David series on the power cords and the interconnects. And we have used the Titans on the speaker cables because of the capabilities of having a ground wire attached to them for shielding purposes.
Okay.
The entire cable system is designed to be as quiet as you can make it, and it's basically an extremely heavily shielded cable system.
I see. Okay, good, good.
The turntable system is EnKlein's involvement includes the power box, where we've worked on trying to make it a little quieter electronically and mechanically, and the same is true of the turntable. I worked with Mark on the suspension system to try to make it a little quieter. There's a series of plates in there that perform different functions, and the plates are designed to dissipate energy from any vibrations that may enter away from things like the tone arm suspension and the spindle for the platter. And we went to quite a few months and iterations of trying to get it in perfection.
Along with that, you've been incorporating a newer technology over the past year or so. It's an interesting skin that you have on the
Right.
connectors.
We use a system designed to control the EMI and RFI entering a cable system. We call it EMIS now. It is basically a way to keep bad stuff from getting into the cable, coming out of the cable, and interfering with other cables. And the idea is to try to get a cable that is ultra quiet and nothing will interfere with it. Well, that's not really the case. There's always something that's big enough. But we've perfected this enough to the point where it's fairly quiet.
Good, good. Well, thank you very much. Tom Kleinbeck from EnKlein.
Thank you, Peter.
Okay, let's hear how all of this wonderful gear plays music. Here we go.
How did I get so far gone? Where do I belong? Where in the world did I ever go wrong? took the time to replace what my mind erased, I still feel as if I'm here, but I'm gone. Perched up in a rocking chair, with my feet all bare, rolling my blunt in a cigar wrap. Living in a lesser mind, never do take the time, waiting for my heart quiet as it's kept. How did I get so far gone? Where do I belong? Where in the world did I ever go wrong? If I took the time to replace what my mind erased, I still feel as if I'm here, but I'm gone. Mama told me I was best, argue and punch in the chest. Girl, now be strong, let me take you home. I see the eyes so sincere, screaming what got me here. Standing in the world with my mind all blown. Oh yeah. How did I get so far gone? Where do I belong? Where in the world did I ever go wrong? Oh. If I took the time to replace what my mind erased, I still feel as if I'm here, but I'm gone. I do nothing but waste my time, leaving the world behind, soaking my soul just to keep me high. Around the boys I played my part rough, keeping myself tough enough. Never to cry, don't really wanna die. How did I get so far gone? Where do I belong? Where in the world did I ever go wrong? If I took the time to replace what my mind erased, I still feel as if I'm here, but I'm gone. Still feel as if I'm here, but I'm gone. Still feel as if I'm here, but I'm gone. Hey, God, still feel as if I'm here, but I'm gone. Still feel as if I'm here, but I'm gone.
Outstanding detail, big presentation. We have a room with a lot of reverb in it, and it really cut through the reverb. The woofers stopped and started on a dime. You could hear it, viewers. You could hear it if you're sitting here, and you can hear it through YouTube if you're watching in 1080p. So again, an outstanding presentation here, superb sound. You are there imaging from Dohmann, Thrax, EnKlein, and Schroder. What a great team. Great team from the Audio Union. You've seen it here first.